computer. Okay, so here we are. I am on the web browser version of the app, which is what is currently available to iPhone users or anybody that just wants to access the app from their computer or a laptop, desktop, whatever kind of computer. Or if you're getting into it even from your phone, but through your browser instead of through like an icon that goes directly to the app that you downloaded from the Google store. So when you first pop into the app, sometimes it shows the splash screen and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. Um, if it shows the splash screen, it will eventually come usually to a navigation page, which is a little different than this. But for some reason, when I come in from my browser app, it brings me to like the news and notes section, which is what we're looking at right now. This is the news and notes. All of these views are remarkably similar, both on your mobile device and on the browser app. They're just proportioned slightly differently. Everything's more squished and smaller when it's on your phone or on your device. So if I were to go over here to this menu, then I get that navigation panel. And in this kind of view, there are 2 pages for that. When I'm on my phone, there are 3 pages, again, just because the proportions get a little different. I'm going to go into the RTA basics, and normally here for me, it prompts me at that point because I'm accessing something that is not like freely accessible, not easily accessible. It's behind a restriction. Only people that are in the RTA1 group or above can get into this. So usually it'll ask for my password and stuff. It didn't this time because evidently it remembers me on this device. So that's exciting. And then I have some things in the way. Oh, okay. So the first page that you land on within RTA Basics is actually um, updates. Right now, this is where I'm putting student work. So you can see some student work in there. If you submit something through the app, that's where this gets posted. I'm probably going to create another panel within RTA1, which I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as panels, that's just student work. That way, this will mostly be updates, reminders, discussion questions. And then you'll click to the right or swipe to move to the right to be able to access the other panels. So right now, if you do that, you get the Spiral Castle blog as one of them, where I've imported the different posts that are on the Spiral Castle blog, which just makes it a little easier to get to those things. All of these are pretty much related to the lessons that you're covering. Some of them are more year 1, some of them are more year 2, but this is the place where the blog is showing up in the app. And then the lessons are in the next one. So this is the content of the lessons. If you were to click on one, you're going to see, an image at the top and then all of the same information that's in your RTA1 book, the prerequisites, the objectives, materials, all the study notes, the assignment, additional resources, and BOS pages included. Now, the BOS pages included, I will just say, are in your book, but they're not all necessarily stored here on the app. I don't know. That's a lot of data, and I don't know if it would let me store all of the PDFs here on the app without having some issues. So I want you to see that when you are scrolling, and this is true for any kind of post anywhere, right? It doesn't matter what section of the app you're in. If there's a post like this where you're seeing, an article or even just a picture, you can make this navigation at the bottom pop up, which shows you the next article. You can just click through like that instead of going back to the main and then coming back into the specific article. You can bookmark it for yourself. You can share it in theory. um, that's a little bit limited in the sense that if you were to share this to Facebook, it's not going to post the whole article to Facebook, and a person coming into it's going to have to sign up for the app and be a part of the Red Thread Academy to be able to see it. And that is kind of on purpose. And then here, this icon right here, that looks like a little quotation, that's where you can comment if you want to comment. So I'm going to post a comment. I got to move this to be able to do that. So it says how you're posting, like who you're posting as, and then you can just enter your text. And I'll just put, this is a test of the emergency commenting system. And I hit send, and it pops up. Now, interestingly, it does not show my picture next to it, at least not right now. Maybe after I've refreshed, it will, but it, date and time stamps it, and it has the comment there. I can go in and delete those comments, but I don't think there's a functionality for doing that on your end. So if you post something and you're like, whoops, that went in the wrong place, or whoops, I did not mean to post that, it's something that would be publicly viewable, you can just let me know and I can go in and delete it for you. Which I'll do later on that one. But that's how it works. Comments are not nested necessarily. So like if you come in and you're looking at this comment, it's not going to be like on Facebook or Instagram or some of the other major social media apps where it shows like Lorelei said this and then Honey said this underneath it and then Taya replied to Honey's comment on Laura's comment. Like it doesn't do that. It's just going to be like Lorelei said this, then the next person who replied said this, maybe about what I said, maybe about something else. So it's not quite as sophisticated as that. It doesn't create those like conversation trees, as it were. But it does allow us to be able to comment both on lessons, and I have had people that have commented on lessons. If you want to be able to add a thought or share your work there in the lesson, you can, use that as a place for commenting. I get notifications about all of these. Or specifically, like one of the ways that this ends up happening a lot is that when we go into, and I'm going to use the back navigation to get back and come over here. If I wanted to, actually, there are comments on this one because I posted a comment. Nope, I guess, no, I didn't. Sorry. Let me go to one where I know I did. Here, I knew it was a red cord. So there are already comments that are left on this one, and you can tell because it has the big number 1 in the bottom. So you can go in and see comments that have been posted on other people's work. This is a great way for us to interact with each other. We're still a relatively small course and a relatively small group of people that are engaging in this way. So there are not a lot of comments yet on different things, but there are some of us who are pretty dedicated to checking in and talking with each other and commenting and that kind of thing. So I think that's pretty much about how to navigate things that are already posted. Let's talk about how you post things yourself. What you're going to do there is go back to the main menu and you're going to click on this show and tell because I have a twisted little sense of humor. So you can choose to either post a picture, post a video, or post your text. If you post a picture, it does, I'm going to test, I'll just show you. Say I want to do this picture. I have all the room in the world that I want to type comments here. There's not a lot of formatting that can happen there, but I can just fill this up with all kinds of text if I want. So really there's plenty of space. Like if you're wanting to show a picture and a discussion, you can do that. I'm not going to send that one. What it always does is it sends this to me for review. And unfortunately, the app doesn't let me just like automatically send things through to the screen. It wants my eyes on it, and I have to do it from my desktop or my laptop. So sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. It might take me, 24 hours to see the notification in my email and to get it posted. But I will get it posted, and I usually change the title because it'll just say something like submitted by PWA user. Um, when I post it, then I can click on it and it'll say like who sent the thing. And I put it in the category that it goes in. So, and as I said, part of what I'm going to do on that categories is make it so that our RTA Basics doesn't just have the 3 screens right now. That's sort of the updates, the blog, and the lessons, but I'll add another screen in here very soon, like probably even today, that'll be student work specifically. And just like, let me move this over, just like this one says Spiral Castle blog at the top, and this one says RTA 1 lessons, it'll say RTA 1 student work at the top, which will make that a little bit easier, I think, to find. That way you don't have to like wade through, you know, here's a reminder, here's some student work, discussion question, all that kind of stuff. Going back to the main screen, the main navigation screen, we also have you have access to RTA videos within the videos category. And again, depending on your device, it'll like tile these differently. In this view, it's not showing the preview image for it, so I apologize for that. Oh, and evidently it's showing it in French when it was posted. Posté. Um, so that's fun. But but you can click on the videos and watch. Like this was the last RTA question and answer session that we did. And I recorded that as I'm recording this one, and you can click and watch it from here within the app. And once again, you can comment. So we have comments that are posted on this one. It's also a good way to ask questions and that kind of thing. Now, whoops, sorry, I'm clicking and talking and I can't do both, evidently. Say you want to submit something for review or just to have my eyes on it, but you don't necessarily want it to be public. You can still use this show and tell. You just need to tell me, like right at the top, Laurelei, this is for you only. Otherwise, I'm going to go, great, a submission and post it to the group, right? So if you don't want it to be seen by other members of the Red Thread Academy at the year 1 level, let me know. Be very explicit about that. The other thing that you can do, and this is entirely private, I assume that this is private and I won't go in to all of those, but you can click the chat feature. Again, I don't want to necessarily be in everybody's chat and be showing. But you can click the chat feature and select somebody to send a message to. If you just start typing my name, Laurelei, you don't even have to get that far. It'll pop up with me as an option of somebody that you can send a message to. And you can copy and paste your work into there. You can ask questions, all of that. Or you can use the contact us, which I am not seeing for reasons I don't know. There is a contact us, but I'm not seeing it. Hmm. I'll have to poke around on the back end of the app and see what's up with that. Maybe it's under home. Let me go to home. Yeah, because there's the who we are. And no, maybe I just took that off and didn't realize it. Let's discover who are we? Okay, yeah, no. All right. Well, there had been a contact button, and I might have to poke around to see if I accidentally removed that and didn't realize that I had done that. The chat is the easiest way um, to reach out, but there should be another button that would be theoretically at the end of this list of icons that would just say like query or contact us or something along those lines. And you can send a question that way. It works in exactly the same way the chat does. It starts a chat conversation, which might be why they either removed it or I removed it. But I will figure that out. Um, Sections of the app that you don't have access to. So you can click on home. There's all kinds of stuff that shows up on that home screen. You can click on news and notes. Those are specifically like the updates that I use instead of um, having a newsletter because I'm terrible at newsletters. And when I say I'm terrible at newsletters, I mean that I used to use a couple of different newsletter services, but because I posted at such random times, people would forget that they had signed up for such a thing, and then it got flagged as spam. And I hated that. So I got rid of having newsletters in favor of just having this. Um, the about just has that information that we just looked at. You can click on your profile and edit and update your information. Um, there's not a lot that gets listed here, and like I haven't listed a whole lot necessarily myself, but you can change your picture. You can have a message that's there on your profile to just sort of like let people know who you are. If they see your name in a comment, somebody may be like, yeah, I want to write to that person directly. And that would be another thing that you could do, right? So by going into the chat, I'm going to use Honey as an example because Honey is here in the video with me. I could go in, I could click on chat and then start typing out a message to Honey directly, and it would DM her. And maybe I know that I've got something in common because somebody said something in a comment on one of the posts, and I just want to get into that more because it sounds interesting and fascinating, and I want to make that personal connection. That would be a way that you could do that. You can get in, I already showed you, you can get into the RTA videos. You wouldn't be able to get into the College of the Doves videos. Same thing with the audio. You can get into the RTA meditations, but you don't have access to these College of the Doves meditations. And then if you are a year one student, you don't have access yet to RTA year two and RTA advanced. This is for year two, this is for years 3 and above, right? So people that are studying third degree or people that have already achieved their third degree have access to this information. And then these three, sorry, are related to these two are related to another course, and this is related to another group that also comes in and has some posts on the app. So all of those things are private and behind walls if you're not a part of that particular group. If for some reason, and this happens a lot, if you have joined the Thread app, you've purchased the book, you're in year one, or maybe even year two or year three, and you're like, why can't I get into RTA one, RTA, audios, RTA videos, that kind of stuff? The reason is that I haven't unlocked it for you yet because that does not happen automatically. It's not an automated system that I can set up where the app just does it. You have to let me know that you've purchased it. And because people can purchase from Amazon and people can purchase from Etsy, I don't necessarily get notifications every time somebody has purchased. So you'll want to send me a chat message using the app, or my email address is listed in the book itself, and you can send me an email that way, and I'll get everything unlocked for you by adding you to the RTA group that is appropriate to you. If you're an RTA 2 student, you still have access to all of the RTA 1 stuff. And my audio clicked off because it does that when I talk too long. And if you're an RTA advanced student, you have access to everything that says RTA. basically. You get it all. So that's what I have to share. I'm going to open it up for questions, and I'm going to invite you to leave comments on this video in the recording if you're watching it later to let me know if you have any questions about how something works if I didn't cover something that you're interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share or stop the recording now, and then open it up to questions here in the chat, and I'll post any relevant information in the discussion of the video itself later. Let me